Hi folks, County Line Gardener with you. Hey, this is not a garden update video. It's a video I wanted to share with you on a mistake I made. As I've told you before in all my videos, if I don't do it the wrong way, then I don't learn. And I learn a lot of stuff the hard way, but I remember. And this is something I'll certainly remember. I've been doing this for a long time now, years. And as you're aware, me and my wife, we grow our seedlings in the garage, great big garage over here, with grow lights. And when they get ready, after about 8 weeks, would you say 8 or 9 weeks, we'll take them to the greenhouse. We got a little greenhouse you're aware of from all the videos, and we set them in there, and they thrive in there. They just love it. Well, a couple years ago, no, it was last year. You're aware of my big back porch here where I'm at right now, and you're aware of my big garden. I have 225 tomato plants this year, okay? We cut down some. People think that's funny, but we've cut down. Anyway, last year I set off my tomato plants that I was going to put in my garden, like 3 Better Boy, 3 Better Bush, and so on. Put them in a tray in alphabetical order here on the back porch, okay? Well, we had customers coming in here. Some of them come while we weren't here, and they took the plants that I had designated for my garden, okay? So I had to go to the greenhouse and get another one, or whenever, and some of them we run out of. But anyway, make a long story short, this year we kept our tomatoes in the garage under grow lights that we were going to put in the garden. Over 200 of them. Okay? Well, the rest of them went to the greenhouse and we sold them. We sold every one of them, almost every one of them we sold this year. Didn't have to throw away or give away any, which is great for us. Anyway, when it come time, May 13th, 14th, 15th, that weekend, that's when we planted our tomatoes in the garden. And we took them out of the garage, took them up there in the golf cart and planted them. All of them. Well, there's, how many's up there? 120 and then 144 up there in the garden. Then we got over here behind the camera in the raised beds you've seen. We've got 60 over there, and then we got about 20 in pots sitting around the house and the back porches and things. But anyway, make it shorter here. We took them out of the garage, took them up to the garden and planted them. All of them up there in the garden, 144. Anyway, about half of them, damn things died. They turned snow white and just fell over. And some of these plants were nice. Some of these plants were 16 inches tall. They just fell over and died. We had, what would you say we ended up replacing there, Mom? About 60? About half of our tomato plants died. Never happened to me before. The soil was nice and warm. I didn't harden them off. Remember that. Remember that. They have got to acclimate and get used to the sunlight. I didn't think about that. I just didn't think about it at the time. And it killed them. It killed them. I ended up going to a local nursery, my favorite, out on East 50 here in Bedford, Lawrence County. A girl out there running it, does a great job. But anyway, and I bought some tomato plants off of her. Well, hers were outside, you know, and they were hardened off. And I've not had any trouble since. I had to replant about 60 tomato plants altogether. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Now, the ones that we had to take out of our greenhouse and plant up there to replace what died, the ones in the greenhouse did fine. So that tells you right there. It tells you right there what was wrong. But we ended up probably getting 40, maybe not quite that many. We didn't get 40. We didn't buy no 40 tomato plants. About 10 or 15 or 20 or something. But the rest of them we had in the greenhouse, thankfully. But the ones that were in the greenhouse grew fine. The ones that were in the garage under grow lights, artificial lights, did not. They died. Not all of them. Now that's the strange part. Not all of them died. But a lot of them did. Half of them did. So I've learned something. Next year, they all go in the greenhouse. They all go in the greenhouse and acclimate and get used to the sunlight, the weather, the temperature change before they go in the garden. Because I've not had one complaint from a customer that's bought a tomato plant and come back. And one other little thing, but just remember that, like I said, I learned everything the hard way, and this year it cost me 60 plants. But I won't make that same mistake twice. We're getting the rain we need. We'll make a trip up there around July 1st. An update on the garden, but it's looking great. It's looking great. Blackberries. What is today? The 24th, 25th. Today's Friday, the 25th of June. We're going to have blackberries in about another 4 days. Ripe blackberries. And man, they are the monsters too. Those Primark Travelers, Primark Freedoms. Oh, I could go on and on. Wichita, Navajo. They're just great. They're huge, bigger than my thumb. We got 1,100 feet of them. And we'll share that with you when we get them. But it's raining here now. It's getting ready to rain. It rained last night a little bit. It's rain's coming down just perfect here in southern Indiana. Sometimes it rains a little too hard. It blew over my onions. I had big tall onions, and it blew the red ones. I don't know why it didn't. The big white candies, but the red candy onions, it blowed them over. And they won't stand back up. The corn got blowed over, but it stood right back up in 3 days. First time the sun hit it, it stood right back up. But the onions didn't recover from the bent over. Somebody get on here and tell me if I think my onions are going to be okay. I think they're okay. A neighbor lady told me they would be fine. They're just bent. But I'm going to get off of here now. But just remember that about hardening off them plants, would you? Just trying to help out. It cost me 60 plants. But I learned from it. I'm getting ready to drive up there now in the old golf car and look at how much the rain helped last night, and it's getting ready to come again. So we're got some fence work to do. We're about done. We got it done, I think, yesterday. A lot of hard work, but I wanted to share with you one other thing. I have COPD, real severe COPD. I can't breathe. I'm on oxygen at night when I go to sleep. I put it in the tubes in my nose and all that. And I take the albuterol sulfate through the day once or twice. Unless it I have an attack, and then I do it then too. Well, anyway, it's probably from 40 some years of smoking, which I quit. I quit 11 years ago last week. 11 years ago last week I quit cigarettes. But anyway, I tried to plant green beans up there, our second bunch of green beans. We planted 4 rows of green beans May the 14th, and then 1 month later, which was this Wednesday, the 23rd of June, I planted 4 more rows. We didn't want them all coming on at once. Well, I use an earthquake planter you're familiar with. And my garden sloped a little bit from north to south, about 5 degrees maybe at the most, 5 to 6 degrees at the most. But when you get to the bottom, then you got to go back up the hill. Well, I was okay going down the hill with the earthquake planter. Well, I said, why not just plant a row going back up? Well, I did. By the time I got up there, I couldn't breathe. Had to run to the house, had to take care of that. But later on that afternoon, after I recovered from my lungs, I got to thinking, why couldn't I do this from the golf car? And I did. I will show you later, but I filled the planter up with the earthquake planter up with the seeds, and I just held it out beside me. Just held it out beside me in the dirt. I had this dirt turned up real fine, and just made a straight line and drove down the row. I have flags that mark off my rows, and it worked great. Worked fine. Worked perfect. So from now on, that's how I'm going to do the beans, the corn. There's oh my, how many? 20 rows of corn up there, or close to it, that we used that earthquake planter for. 2 rows of okra, 2 rows of, you name it, I don't know, 1 row of okra. But anyway, I'm going to get on the golf cart and do it from now on. It's simpler, and it's a lot easier on my breathing too. So that's going to help me a lot. So I'm done rambling. Just remember what main reason for this video was the hardening off of them plants. Take them out to the greenhouse and let them sit out there in the greenhouse or wherever outside in the sunlight. They have to harden off for about a week. I'd say a week, 5, 6, 7 days before they're hardy enough to go in the ground. And if that happens to you, that's exactly what's happened. They've not been hardened off. So I'm gonna get off of here now. So we're going to close her down, and you guys all have a great gardening this summer, and we'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye. Go ahead.